Long ago, in the land of Egypt, the Israelites had grown into a large and powerful people. Many years earlier, they had come to Egypt during a time of famine, but now generations had passed. A new pharaoh rose to power, one who did not remember the good that the Israelites had once brought to the land. When he saw how greatly their numbers had increased, fear entered his heart. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelites have become too many and too strong for us. If war comes, they may join our enemies and fight against us." Because of this fear, Pharaoh turned the Israelites into slaves. They were forced to work under harsh conditions, carrying stones, making bricks, and building great cities for Egypt. Day after day they labored under the hot sun. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied. Pharaoh's fear turned into cruelty. He gave a terrible order. Every Hebrew baby boy that is born must be thrown into the river. It was in this dark and dangerous time that a woman from the tribe of Levi gave birth to a son. The child was beautiful, and his mother sensed there was something special about him. She hid him for 3 months. Every cry had to be silenced. Every sound brought danger. But as the baby grew, it became impossible to keep him hidden. With a heavy heart, his mother made a small basket from reeds and coated it carefully so water could not enter. She placed the baby inside and laid the basket among the reeds by the riverbank. Nearby stood his sister, Miriam, watching anxiously to see what would happen. Soon, Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe. She noticed the basket among the reeds and asked one of her servants to bring it. When she opened it, the baby began to cry. Her heart was moved with compassion. Even though she knew he was a Hebrew child, she chose to save him. At that moment, Miriam stepped forward and said, "Shall I find a Hebrew woman to nurse the baby for you?" Pharaoh's daughter agreed. So Miriam quickly brought the baby's own mother. The same woman who had placed him in the river was now given the chance to care for him again. When the child was older, Pharaoh's daughter adopted him as her own son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Moses grew up in the palace of Egypt. He was raised like a prince. He learnt the wisdom of Egypt, wore royal clothing, and lived among the riches of the palace. But even with all the comfort around him, Moses knew that he was different. He knew he was one of the Hebrews. His people were the slaves working outside the palace walls. One day, after Moses had become a man, he went out to see how the Israelites were being treated. What he saw filled him with anger. An Egyptian was beating a Hebrew slave. Moses looked to his left. He looked to his right. No one seemed to be watching. In that moment, anger took over. Moses struck the Egyptian and killed him. Then he hid the body in the sand. The next day, Moses went out again and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. He stepped in and said, "Why are you fighting each other?" But one of them answered, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" At those words, fear rushed into Moses' heart. He realized the truth had been discovered. What he had done in secret was now known. Soon Pharaoh heard about it. Furious, he ordered that Moses be put to death. Moses had no choice. He fled from Egypt. The prince who once lived in the palace became a man on the run. He crossed into the wilderness and made his way to the land of Midian. Alone, afraid and uncertain of the future, Moses left behind everything he had ever known. But what he did not know was this: God was already preparing him for a far greater purpose. The man who ran from Pharaoh would one day return to stand before him. In the wilderness, Moses was about to hear the voice of God from a burning bush.